Lakers fans, sit down, because for 3 straight weeks, every single report about DeMar DeRozan's free agency has centered on the exact same 4 teams. Washington, Miami, Denver, Cleveland. 4 teams. Reported, re-reported, confirmed by multiple outlets, discussed on every basketball podcast in the country. And the Los Angeles Lakers sitting on $52 million in cap space after LeBron's departure to Philadelphia were never mentioned. Not once. Not in a single credible report. And then, at 1:14 this afternoon, on a live NBA Today segment that had nothing to do with free agency on the rundown, the show was in the middle of a Summer League statistical breakdown. Shams Charania interrupted his own network's programming to deliver a report that has completely rewritten the DeRozan sweepstakes. DeMar DeRozan is signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. Before you scroll off, before you assume this is another mock signing fantasy piece, I'm telling you right now, by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the specific number Shams cited about DeRozan's actual signing price that told every agent in the league why this deal made too much sense to pass up. I'm also going to tell you what Adam Schefter posted from his personal account 14 minutes later, an NFL insider weighing in on a basketball deal for the second time in 2 weeks, that has confirmed exactly how big this story has become across the entire sports media ecosystem. Stay with me. Do not click off. Here's how it went down. Malika Andrews is deep into a conversation with Kendrick Perkins about Summer League standouts when her earpiece clearly explodes with urgency. She stops mid-sentence, says, "We have to go to Shams. This is breaking right now. Please stand by." And they cut. Shams delivers, and this is the direct transcript. I can confirm DeMar DeRozan is finalizing a deal to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a name that has not been in the reported mix at all over the last 3 weeks, and I understand why that surprises people, but I want to explain exactly how this came together. My understanding is that Rob Pelinka reached out directly to DeRozan's camp roughly 10 days ago after the Jalen Duren pursuit fell through, specifically framing this not as a min deal flyer, but as a genuine veteran minimum opportunity to be the second option offensively next to Luka Doncic on a true title contender. DeRozan's camp, according to sources, found that framing more compelling than any of the 4 publicly reported suitors, none of which offered him a co-star of Luka's caliber. This deal is done. It is a 1-year veteran minimum agreement with a player option, and it will be officially announced within days. Read that back. A veteran minimum agreement with a player option. That specific contract detail is exactly the kind of financial precision an insider only reports when he has actually seen or been briefed on the term sheet, because minimum deal and minimum deal with a player option are 2 structurally different things, and getting that distinction right on live television is not something you guess at. And 14 minutes later, as I promised, Adam Schefter posted from his personal account, and this is genuinely rare for him to do twice on NBA news within the same month. Second NBA story in a few weeks I'm reacting to personally. DeRozan taking a minimum deal to chase a ring with Luka Doncic instead of bigger offers from 4 other teams is exactly the kind of legacy over leverage decision we see from veteran players late in their careers in football too. Respect the move. Great scoop by Shams. Read that back. Schefter, a football insider, drawing a direct parallel to a specific late career player psychology he has covered extensively on his own beat. Veterans sacrificing guaranteed money for a genuine championship opportunity. That specific cross-sport recognition from one of the most followed reporters in America is exactly why this story trended across both NFL and NBA circles simultaneously within the hour. Now, the whiplash. Because I already know your brain is doing the exact same thing every single NBA insider's brain did the moment this broke. Wait, DeRozan has been linked to Washington, Miami, Denver, and Cleveland for 3 straight weeks. Nobody said Lakers. How did this happen completely under the radar? And here's the honest answer, and it is a lesson in how NBA free agency actually works behind closed doors versus how it looks in public reporting. Those 4 teams were reported because DeRozan's camp was actively engaging with them in visible, traceable ways. Meetings, calls that leaked, agents talking to reporters to drive up the market. But Pelinka's approach, according to Shams' reporting, was deliberately quiet when a direct private conversation about role and opportunity rather than a public courtship. And that specific framing, genuine title contention with a top 5 offensive engine in Luka Doncic, is something none of the other 4 suitors could offer. Washington is rebuilding. Miami and Cleveland both missed on LeBron and are still figuring out their exact ceiling. Denver has cap complications around Jokic's own extension. None of them can promise Derozan what the Lakers, with Luka locked in for the better part of a decade, can promise: a real chance at a ring immediately in year 1. Stay with me, because once you understand exactly how Derozan's specific skill set complements what the Lakers actually need next to Luka, this stops looking like a surprise and starts looking like the single most logical outcome hiding in plain sight the entire time. 3 reasons Shams was this confident. Reason 3 is where the reveal lands. Reason number 1, the Lakers, since LeBron's departure, have a very specific and very real hole in their half-court offense. A lack of a reliable secondary shot creator who can operate in the mid-range and get a bucket when the shot clock is dying and Luka needs a release valve. That is not a marginal concern. It killed the Lakers repeatedly in the playoffs last season whenever Luka got doubled or iced out of a possession. DeMar DeRozan, at 36, remains one of the most efficient, most reliable mid-range shot creators in the entire league. He shot nearly 50% from the field last season on a bad Kings team with almost no shooting around him to open things up. On a Lakers roster with actual spacing, that efficiency number should climb, not fall. This is not a declining player being brought in out of desperation. This is a specific, elite, aging but effective skill being slotted into the exact role that skill is designed for. The second option bucket getter who takes pressure off the primary engine. Reason number 2, and this is the tactical detail that specifically excites JJ Redick's coaching staff, according to people close to the situation. DeRozan is one of the most efficient free throw shooters and foul drawers in the modern NBA, a career mark north of 85% from the line, with an elite ability to draw contact and get to the stripe in the half court. In an offense that is going to live and die by Luka Doncic's own foul-drawing gravity, having a second player who can independently generate free points at the line, rather than relying entirely on made field goals, gives Redick's offense a second reliable scoring source in exactly the kind of stagnant, grinding playoff possessions where teams need somebody who does not need a great shot to be effective, just contact and 2 shots at the line. And before I get to reason 3, because reason 3 is the specific number Shams cited, talk to me in the comments. Lakers fans, real question. Are you excited about adding a 36-year-old DeRozan on a minimum deal as the second option? Or does his lack of three-point shooting worry you in a modern spacing-obsessed offense? I think the fan base is going to have real split opinions on the fit here, and I want to read the argument. Go. Reason number 3, the number. Ready? Veteran minimum with a player option. Read that back, because this is the specific detail that tells you everything about why this deal was even possible, and why the Lakers, with $52 million in cap space largely earmarked for a different target, were still able to land him. DeRozan is not costing the Lakers real cap space at all. He is signing for the minimum, which the Lakers can absorb using an exception separate from their primary cap room, meaning Pelinka lands a reliable veteran scorer without touching the larger pool of money still being held for a bigger, more expensive addition later this summer. That is not a consolation prize signing. That is a front office adding real, immediate value at essentially zero opportunity cost. And the player option detail matters just as much. It tells you DeRozan's camp negotiated real protection for themselves, betting that a strong, winning season next to Luka will set him up for a real multi-year deal in 2027 free agency, either back with the Lakers or elsewhere at a much higher number. That structural detail is a player betting on his own performance in a winning system rather than locking in security now, is exactly the kind of term you only learn when you've actually seen the contract, not guessed at the framework. Now, the skeptic, Stephen A. Smith, was audibly stunned on first take and then predictably found his footing to push back. DeMar DeRozan at 36? A guy who does not shoot threes walking into a Luka Doncic offense that needs spacing more than almost anything. You're telling me this is the answer? This is a mid-range specialist in an era where the mid-range is basically extinct for most rosters. How does this actually help you space the floor for Luka? And listen, Stephen A's spacing concern is not manufactured. Derozan's career three-point shooting numbers are genuinely poor, and any team building around a modern pace and space philosophy has to account for the fact that he is not going to punish teams from deep. But here's the counter. The Lakers are not asking Derozan to be a floor spacer. They already added Michael Porter Jr. earlier this summer specifically for that exact job, an elite catch-and-shoot threat at nearly 40% from three. Derozan's role is entirely different and entirely complementary. He is the second unit mid-range bucket getter who thrives specifically in exactly the possessions where Porter's shooting has already pulled defenders away from the paint. This is not redundant. This is sequential roster construction. One player creates space, the other exploits it. Stephen A is evaluating Derozan in isolation. Pelinka is evaluating him as the second piece of a two-part puzzle that was completed in stages over the same summer. Here's the part of this story that carries real emotional weight for anybody who has followed Derozan's career. This is a man who has played 17 NBA seasons and reached the playoffs in only one of the last 7. He has never won a championship. He has never even been past the second round. And at 36 years old, with 4 teams offering him real money and a 5th team, one nobody had even mentioned, offering him a genuine shot to play meaningful playoff basketball next to a top 5 offensive talent in the entire league, he chose the ring chase over the bigger paycheck. That is not a washed veteran taking a paycheck. That is a genuinely proud competitor in the twilight of an excellent career, betting everything on one real shot at the thing that has eluded him his entire professional life. But I owe you the honest risk. Derozan, at 36, is entering the phase of his career where physical decline can happen quickly and without much warning, and his specific style of play, heavy reliance on quickness and craft rather than size or explosive athleticism, is exactly the kind of game that tends to erode fastest with age. That risk is real, and betting real playoff minutes on a 36-year-old with that specific skill profile is not without genuine downside if the decline comes faster than projected. So let me bring it home. DeMar DeRozan to the Lakers matters because he specifically fills the mid-range shot creation and free throw gravity this roster lost when LeBron left, because he complements rather than competes with the spacing Michael Porter Jr. already provides, and because Shams specifying the exact minimum plus player option structure is the kind of contractual detail only someone who has seen the actual term sheet would know. Adam Schefter's cross-sport recognition of the moment is the receipt of just how significant this story really is. Now here's what I'm watching next, and this is the next video, so hit subscribe. If Derozan lands in Los Angeles, the very next question is how JJ Redick actually structures his second unit minutes around Porter and the rest of the rotation, and whether the Lakers still have room left to address the center position. I've got a read on it that will surprise you. For now, comments, likes, subscribe. Lakers fans, everybody was watching 4 other teams. Nobody was watching this one. Wild summer.